There's a strange exhilaration in such total detestation. It's so pure, so strong. If you know what musical that's from, you're my favorite. Okay, so I like to talk about magic cards I like a lot of the time. But there's a great many cards that I do not like, and I figured I would throw them into a video about magic cards I loathe. I hate these cards. And I have justifiable reasons. Some of them are better justifiable reasons than the other. Let's get started. This is part one because you know I'm gonna have way more cards to talk about. Like, let's be completely honest here. The first card, I really don't like this card. That is Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger. So it's a 6-drop, sorry, it's an 8-drop, 7/6 trample. When you tap a land for mana, you add 1 mana of your pool, you know, of any type that could produce, which is super cool. So you get like double mana basically, which, hey, that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. However, whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So it's basically like a winter orb stapled onto this creature, kinda. And I just think this card is super busted. I don't like it. I'm a huge fan of green. Like, I have green in a ton of my EDH decks. I would never ever play with this card. I think it's super mean, super rude. Yeah, it's a creature, so there's like probably a million ways to like get rid of it, but still, I think this card is like super rude. Having a card that just taps you for double mana is great, but like, you know, having your mana tapped and, you know, taking you a million years to like actually, you know, do something is really, really frustrating and basically not like playing Magic. And then at the end of that, you know, you're left with like a big 7/6 trampler to be swinging at you every turn. Card is super rude. I do not like this card. And I'm really talking about this card because the only person I know who has actually played with this card before is my friend Nikki. She had like an EDH decks where I want to say this may have been her commander, and that's especially rude because then you can keep getting it back, where it's not like I can just, you know, old commander rules, you exiled your commander and it was, you know, it's exiled, you can't get it back, but new commander rules say it goes back to the command zone. So basically that means that you can just keep playing this card, which is busted. Not a fan. That was really calm. You're gonna see me get way angry in this video, so if you think I'm calm now, oh boy, the best is yet to come. Okay, then we have Deadeye Navigator, and I really hate this card, and I hate this card because mainly, for a portion of time I was playing EDH at my game store, and basically everyone was playing Deadeye Navigator, which is one reason why I just really hate it. I really hate when, you know, there's some cards that are like super mainstreamed into the meta, and I've been told that I'm a hipster before, and I hate mainstream things, and I think I just got tired of seeing everyone and their mother running combos with Deadeye Navigator because you can do 1,000,001 infinite combos with this card, which I think is really busted. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine like with infinite combos. There's just something about this card, and again, I think it really is because everyone was playing it. Like, if everyone was playing Twin in EDH, I'd probably hate that too, even though I run Twin in EDH, but then again, I also don't avidly fetch that unless I need to win that turn, kind of thing. But I think there was a lot of like tutoring and people just getting Deadeye Navigator and comboing off on like turn 5, and I was like, this is really not fun, actually. No thanks. Next chapter. Okay, I have a huge disliking, an avid disliking for stupid, big, dumb Eldrazi, and I'm talking about Ulamog, I'm talking about Kozzie, I'm talking about like basically all the Eldrazi just in general, and I hate them for a lot of different reasons. I was drafting a lot of the times with this set, whatever, Battle for Zendikar, I was drafting a lot. Then I was going to draft like every week for like, you know, a solid couple months, and which was super fun because I love drafting and I really loved that draft environment where I didn't go to my game store when I went to college. I went to the game store there and it was a ton of fun. But I felt like I kind of got really sick of Battle for Zendikar, and I feel like I tend to associate Battle for Zendikar with a lot of the Eldrazi, even though not all of them are from there, but I just tend to do that. I also just really hate Eldrazi just because of the whole concept in Modern. I think it's very overused. I tend to really not like decks that get massively popular. Again, I'm a hipster, I just tend to not like them, and I think that people gravitate a lot of times towards the deck that they think is is the best, which tends to be the deck that everyone's playing. Like, everyone just jumped on Eldrazi, and I just think that was really stupid. I just don't think they're fun. I would not like to play against a deck like that. I just don't find Magic like that fun. But mainly I don't like cards like this because Paul plays them against me, and I really hate them. Because first off, I can never tell the difference between them. God, could I even tell you? I have this card up on the screen. I don't even know what Ulamog does. I couldn't even tell you. I don't even know what Kozzie does. It doesn't really matter. They're stupid. They're big. They're dumb. They annihilate things. Annihilator, I would have honestly no problems with if it didn't say, if it's the fact that it says non-land, I'm sorry, the fact that it says lands included, I don't like that. I think making people sacrifice their lands is extremely rude. I don't like that. I think giving, you know, taking away people's access to mana to do things, I think is very unfair, especially if someone dumps like a big Eldrazi when you have no board and you clearly have to sack your lands. I don't think that is fair. I tend to just scoop up my cards whenever I'm playing against big dumb Eldrazi. And it's not just Paul who plays them. I've seen a lot of people in playgroups that I've played with in the past who play Eldrazi. I just think they're very unfun, and I tend to just want to burn the entire table because I just hate Eldrazi with a fiery passion. Channeling my inner red mage, I just want to set them on fire. Okay, now if you know anything about me, anything, and if you read this title and immediately thought, Tracy, are you going to talk about Jace, Vryn's Prodigy? Wow, you're in the right place. Yes, I am going to talk about Jace, Vryn's Prodigy. Okay, I'm not going to talk that much about it because I've exhausted my point on this, I think, decently clearly. I hate this card for a lot of reasons. The main reason really has actually nothing to do with Jace in and of itself. I love Jace. I think he's a super cool guy. I tend to like a lot of his Planeswalker cards. I don't really have an EDH deck that they really fit in. Like, I don't really have a deck. I think Jace is like a super fine character. I read his book that I'm blanking on the name of, Agents of Artvice. I thought that book was really great. Actually humanized him a lot. It has nothing to do with Jace. It has nothing to do with blue. I love blue. You guys know I'm a blue mage. It's everything to do with the fact that I built the Grixis control, and everyone told me that I should be running Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, and I told them no, because again, I like to go against what people say. I like to go against what everyone else is doing, because so I think the initial, like, I hate it based on principle because people told me I should be running it, and I was like, no, because I don't think that there's one way to look at decks, and I think that this was an auto-include for people, like, as if this card was such a staple like Snapcaster Mage. I do not agree with that at all. I don't think that it was on the same level, and there's some people who wholeheartedly disagree, and that's fine. This is just my opinion, and I just avidly do not like this card because of that. You know, it's a 0/2. I mean, it dies to like everything, let's be honest here. You draw and you discard. I mean, you're not trying to attack with this creature. That's just not, you know, what you're trying to do. Or really block with it. I mean, I guess you can block with it if you're desperate. But you draw and then you discard. If there are 5 or more cards in your graveyard, you exile it, which is decently easy in a blue-like type of deck. And then he flips. He's Jace, Telepath Unbound. You know, typical abilities, blah, blah, blah. You get the emblem, like, when you cast a spell, they mill cards, which isn't really a great emblem, I think, in Modern anyway. The other ability, you know, up to 1 target creature gets -2 so it's like mediocre. Like, that's okay, but it's not like I'm jumping over hills for that. Really, if you're going to be talking about Jace's, like, Jace, Architect of Thought, like, hey, remember this card? Anyone remember this card? This card's great. It kind of definitely reminds me of that a little bit, that ability. And then you may cast target instant or sorcery, you know, and it's basically a Snapcaster Mage but in a minus. But I just think that ability, you know, the fact that it's not even like -2, -1 or something like that, so it's not even like you're killing anything, I feel like it leaves it very vulnerable. You're also playing this in a blue Modern deck where you're not running a lot of creatures, so Jace is probably just gonna straight up die. Like, okay, yeah, I guess it saves your you know, your person, so like they're not attacking you, but overall I just really do not like this card. I'm just not impressed. I just don't see what the fuss is. I just don't think this card is really that great. And also, just don't tell me what cards to play. Just don't do that. Ever, 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 ever. Okay, the next card, I hate this card because of the story that goes along with this card. And I mean, I hate the card in of itself, but it's Mindslaver. So basically, there is this player who, again, not anywhere near my local game store. It was when I went away to college, who I don't remember what deck in Modern I was playing at the time, but he was playing Mindslaver Tron. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I absolutely hate the deck of Tron. I hate that deck. I would never ever play that deck. I don't think it's fun. I find that every single deck I've ever played in my Magic history, I could never beat Tron. It's honestly, in my history of like least favorite decks in anything ever, it's totally up there. I just hate that deck. Anyways, this guy's playing a blue version of Tron, which you're like, okay, that's like totally different. It's like Mindslaver Tron, you know, it's running some counter spells. It's, you know, doing different types of things. Anyways, the ruling changed of this card, but basically the old ruling, if you remember playing Magic or on the old ruling, was that you could have access to your opponent's hand and deck and graveyard, all that stuff, which makes sense, but you could also access their sideboard. Anyways, so that used to be the old rule, and so your opponent could Mindslaver you, and at that point, a lot of people would probably just scoop up their cards if they're getting Mindslavered because they don't want you to know what's going on in their sideboard, which is totally understandable. So anyways, so I was at this, again, game store that was not my own, far away from me, and there was this guy playing this blue Mindslaver deck, and then basically it was right around the time I must have been getting into Modern. Again, I can't remember what deck I was playing, I don't remember when this was in my Magic history, but he Mindslavered me and, you know, was like, can I look at your sideboard? And he was just not a great, like, not a nice player to begin with, which just made it worse. And again, I know people who play Tron who were like super nice, but this guy was awful. He was, insert any name you want here. We all know what I'm talking about. So anyways, so I'm like not having a great time because again, I'm decently new at this point to Modern, and I was like very, oh god, I was playing black-white tokens. I think this was like in my super early stages. I think, maybe, I can't remember. Mindslavers me and takes a look at my sideboard. Now, new rulings, you can't access your, you know, you can't see what's going on in their sideboard, because basically the concept of Mindslaver would be like, well, I am taking over you, and I could whip out my sideboard at any time and take a look at it, I guess. Is that the ruling? Judge, help me out here. So anyways, he was just not a great player, and every time I think of this card, I always think of him. I've also seen this card being used in, anyways, oh, so before we move on to that other point. Then flash forward months later, this guy remembers me, which I've had this happen a couple of times before where people have remembered me as a player, which is super weird to me because I bet if I was a guy it would not be as noticeable, because I know there's a lesser, you know, ratio of females to men that play, but he remembers me and remembered me being a good player, even though God, I was not a good player. Like months when I got into Modern, I was like totally didn't know what I was doing. So I don't know where he pulled that from. And it's a compliment. He was like, oh, you're like really great. You're like doing a great job. Like whatever. I remember you. You were a very tough opponent, which I like totally wasn't. Maybe he was just saying that to like attempt to be nice or mocking me. Who knows? Maybe a combination of both. So anyways, we're flash forwarding and I'm playing again. I don't even remember what kind of deck, and then he's just destroying me, and every time I see Mindslaver, I always think of him, and it makes me really mad. And you know those opponents like that you just totally remember. Like, I don't remember a lot of my opponents, but I remember him, and I'll probably remember him for a very long time, especially because I make YouTube videos about it. So, yeah, anyways, I just think this card's very unfair. I hate the fact that you can keep bringing Mindslaver back. I understand that this card is a lot of mana, so if you're looking at it like from a Modern perspective, but you're running the Tron lens, so you're automatically gonna have like 7 mana once you have a Tron lens, so like you don't even care about that. Yeah, I just think it's super rude, it's super unfun, and the whole concept of Mindslaver Tron is that you keep bringing a Mindslaver back. You have like the land or the other creature artifact thing that makes it so, I think it's the land, and then you bring back like an artifact to the top of your deck, so you keep getting Mindslaver, you keep Mindslavering them. It's just not fun. It's just not a fun combo to play against. And yeah, I just really, really, really avidly dislike this card. And I think my story makes total sense of why. Okay, so basically the next card I want to talk to you guys about is Sensei's Divining Top. Now, again, this is a super big EDH staple, which I kind of have similar feelings towards this card than I do, what was the other really popular card that I talked about? Deadeye Navigator. This card is basically in everyone and their mother's EDH decks, and I hate it because, again, I think it's a card that, like, everyone is just like, I naturally just have, like, 15 Sensei's Divining Tops running around. Let me throw them in all my EDH decks. And now it's a little bit more accessible. It used to be, like, really expensive. Like, it used to be, like, $30. Now it's, like, $15 or something like that. So it's a little bit more accessible. The new art is bomb. It's so much better than the old art. And, you know, I think I was really like, I want to get this card because everyone's running this card. And then I looked at it and I was like, I don't see what's so good about it. Like, the fact that you look at the top 3 cards of your library, you put them back in any order. Like, to be honest, I would rather just scry, guys. I can't tell you how many times, like, if I'm thinking about, like, if I had this card, I would be so frustrated because I'd be like, wait, I don't want these cards. Like, can't I fetch them away? And I have nothing else in my hand to fetch these cards away. I 112% prefer, agents that like scry. Like, I run Thassa and Ladies. Like, I could easily run like top as well, but I like have Thassa and I have like ways of tutoring for her, which is great, like Captain Sensei and stuff. And I'll just like, I love Thassa because I'm like, sweet, I don't need this dumb card, pitch it to the bottom. But like, this is just, you just look at them and I'm like, but what if I don't want any of those cards? And what if I don't have any other ways of pitching these cards? And then it's like, you're left with these dead cards and it's terrible. And then you draw a card and then you put it on top, which I'm like, okay, but then you just can't ever get rid of top. Like, that's what I really hate too, is like, you're like, okay, they're getting kind of card advantage, I'd like to destroy this card, and they're like, nah, I'm gonna draw a card, and then I'm also gonna like put it on, you know, the top. And the fact that like you don't have to tap it for the first ability, like, busted. I don't like this card. I don't. Okay, funny story about this next card. I actually wrote this on my list, and I looked at it and I was like, did I miswrite this card? Did I mean something else? And then I remembered my explanation, Gifts Ungiven, and I think I'm more, I've talked about this card before, and I've mentioned how I've wanted to actually do a deck tech featuring Gifts Ungiven. So you're like, Tracy, why are you talking about a card you don't like? I think it's one of those cards I don't like being used against me. I really don't like this card because, I think that in the decks that I've seen it in like modern type of decks, each pile is wrong, and I don't like that. I think for the amount of mana that you get, like, the whole, like, the part of this card that's meant to, like, punish you is to go in your graveyard, but, like, you want those cards in your graveyard, so it's kind of just, like, you basically tutor for 4 cards for 4 mana and instant speed, and that's what I have a problem with. Like, I think the amount of mana that you're paying for it, like, I just think it's crazy, and even if someone's, like, rest in pieces your graveyard, like, it's a 4 mana tutor for instant speed. Like, that's really, really good. So I think that the whole brokenness element of it, like, I think I've played against this card too many times, and I'm like, I feel like it always tests me as a Magic player, because I'm like, what pile am I supposed to take? And then I always feel like stupid because I always think I'm taking the wrong pile, but in reality it's like no pile is the right option because they're gonna get all the cards that they need anyway. So I always just have really big problems when I play against this card. I think it's a decently unfair card, at least in my opinion, to play against. I just don't ever have fun when I'm playing against a Gifts Ungiven thing. Okay, cool. The next card, or really cards I want to talk about, are these swords. And what I'm talking about are like the main 5 swords. Do not ask me to name them for you. I don't know. Feast and Famine, Body and Mind, Fire and Ice, or is that like a George R. Martin book, which I know it is too, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm talking about the swords, and I'm really talking about them because Paul runs them in his Karn EDH deck. And I don't really like these cards because I can't ever remember what they do. And I know it sounds like a really stupid reason to like include them in here. And like, Tracy, you really can't just read a card. Tracy, you were an English major. Yes, I know people. I was an English major. I read. It's what I do. But the real thing is I feel like I can't ever tell them apart. I don't remember at all what they do, which again, I know I can just easily fix that problem by reading, and I understand that, but I just don't like these cards because I don't have really a good, I'm sorry, I don't have like a really legitimately like good scientific explanation that I can offer you as to why I don't like these. I think because I guess you could have one that totally hoses you, and, you know, milling 10 cards once it deals combat damage is just stupid for like a total of 5 mana that you're doing. You know, this one, Feast and Famine that I'm showing, you untap all lands you control, like that's so dumb, and then I have to discard a card. Like, I don't want to have to discard and you untap your lands. Like, I just think it's busted. Yeah, I just think they're all very good cards, and there's some of these that are like really, really expensive, and they're all kind of like different priced. But yeah, I just have like major problems with these cards. I just think that they're all really confusing. I wish there was a better way to differentiate them other than freaking reading the cards, and they're just all really busted. I'm not a fan. Okay, the next card, this is another like story time card. Teferi's Puzzle Box. You know those cards that like are very traumatic for you in EDH, where they kind of turn you off to Magic? Yeah, this is one of those cards that I question my sanity every time. This is one of the cards that I just avidly dislike for a lot of reasons. It's 4 mana. At the beginning of each player's draw step, you put the cards in your hand on the bottom of your library, and then you draw that many cards. So it's just, there's a combo with this card and another card where you put them in like a pile, and I don't remember the other combo. If you guys know, like, leave it in a comment, but you can do like a really not nice combo where you can put them like where you don't get to draw cards with it, where you put them in like a pile. I don't know what card I'm thinking of, but there's like a stupid combo with this. I am not a fan of denying people stuff. Like, I don't like cards that restrict you from drawing cards or anything like that. Each player's draw set, the player puts the cards. Oh, I'm sorry, I misread a chunk of this card. I'm like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Sorry. You pitch your entire hand and then you draw that many cards. Okay, I'm sorry guys, I misread that. But yeah, I don't like denying people things. I don't think that's like nice. I don't like the fact that, you know, you could have these super sweet cards in your hand but they go away in a turn. What I tend to do, and I'm sure a lot of people who do this who play Magic, is I have my cards and I'm looking like, okay, what am I gonna do next turn? Now, of course it could change based on what other people do, but if I like don't have time to realistically like look at my hand and make a decision, I don't like that. I like having that access, that time when my opponents are going, especially in like a larger EDH game. I like being like, okay, sweet, I want to like look at my cards and like look at the board and be like, okay, I think I want to play this card, I think I want to do a board wipe, like, but the fact that like you're taking those cards away and I'm getting new ones and I don't have as much time to like consciously think about what I'm gonna do, like, I don't like that. And again, there's that stupid combo with another card which I can't think about, but yeah, I do not like this card at all. Bad memories, bad memories. Okay, another card, and the last card actually that I have really bad memories with, is Humility. This is to me a just not fun card. And one of the reasons why I really don't like this card is because a lot of answers towards enchantments and artifacts that people have is a card like Reclamation Siege. It's a very, very popular card, right? And when a card like that can't even work because it loses its ability and you can't even destroy Humility, I have a problem with that. Now, I always run multiple ways of getting myself out of situations. I always run different types of board wipes, which I think is really important, and different types of removals. What I mean by that is, if I had a deck of all art, like if I had in my deck artifact and enchantment removal, but it was only in creatures, like ETB'd Reclamation Siege, it wouldn't work against a card like this. So my logic is, well, vary it up and have different cards, you know, like an instant or a sorcery or a board wipe that blows up all artifacts and enchantments or something like that. So I have a problem with a card like this because Reclamation Siege just becomes useless, and I think that makes me mad. I also don't like how this card is, they lose all abilities and they have a base and power of 1 and 1. So it's not even just like they lose all abilities, which sucks, but it's also that like they are just 1/1s. I hate that. Someone played this against me when I was playing Omnath, and it was the worst day of my life because I know that deck is like pretty busted and it does a lot of really sweet things, but like I'd rather you exile my board than like put Humility, because my entire board was just completely useless and it felt miserable. So because of that, I've had really bad experience with this card and I really do not like it. So that is it, guys. That is it for cards that I loathe. I would really love to know what cards you loathe. Definitely leave me a comment below of cards that you cannot stand. It's funny because I know some of these cards people like love, and it's going to be so interesting. But like I said, I'm definitely going to be doing part 2. And also on a more positive note, I'm going to be definitely doing a video, I don't know when it's going to go up, but I'm going to do a video on like my favorite Magic cards of all time, because I think that would be really cool. So yeah, that is everything in this video, and I think that's it. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys in my next video on Thursday. Peace out.